Deal or no deal? Trent Williams, 3 years, $66 million, $33 million guaranteed. Now, let me give some context here. Spot Track has this market value assessment. They assess his value at only $18 million. And I feel like that would be a no-brainer. So David Bakhtiari, he received was $23 million annually, and Laramie Tunsil was $22 million annually. So I gave him the Laramie Tunsil $22 million average annually. So deal or no deal on that? 3 years, $66 million with half of that guaranteed for Trent Williams.
Are we just saying one word, or can I give like a sentence or two?
No, go ahead. Say why. Say what you're gonna do and why.
I'd go. Although I think Trent Williams is very important, I think he might even get more than that. I'd say no deal because I think you can get Verrett, Juszczyk, and Carrie Hyder for the same cap hit.
Yeah, I say no deal. He's a hell of a player, and if you can get that money, great. But look what Laramie Tunsil's getting that much money. He's about as good as Trent Williams. What can one offensive lineman do for you? You're still 1 of 5. You play the most important position, but you're still 1 of 5. And Trent Williams is, I don't know if Laramie Tunsil's the same way. He's not a leader. You would want to be like some of that money to get, some leadership there too. So no deal. No deal. Let someone else make that mistake.
Where do you look to then address left tackle?
You can go through a trade. I've been saying, Terran Armstead, or if the top two tackles are there, great. If you need to trade back a little and get Bear Tucker or Darisaw or Mayfield, I'm happy with that too.
Yeah, Slater or Sewell. I would go for Sewell. I got my own little master plan, but if you can't get people to trade with you and people, if no one says yes, then just Slater.
If you go through the draft, though, to me, it almost solidifies that Jimmy Garoppolo is your starting quarterback in 2021. That's why this Williams signing carries so much weight, in my opinion, because if you have to address left tackle in round 1, then Garoppolo is almost a sure thing to be your quarterback in 2021, unless you trade for Watson later on. Okay, moving on to number 2, Jason Verrett. Deal or no deal? 2 years, $17 million. Half of that money guaranteed, 18.5. You signing Jason Verrett to 2 years, $17 million.
Wow. You go ahead.
I think that's close to what the deal I was talking about yesterday with what Chris Harris signed last year. And if you made most of that guaranteed in 2021, I think that'd be a great deal, because if he does get hurt, then you can get out of it for nothing. If it's just like 2.53 million guaranteed the next year, go ahead. If he signs that, I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I say deal. I think he's going to get more than that. I'm not afraid. I don't care. I don't root for the 49ers, but I think he might get the Jimmy Ward deal, which was 3 years, close to 30. If you could get him for 17 plus with only 1 year guaranteed, yes, absolutely, bring him back. Yeah, I like that.
There were a couple contracts that I'm trying to pull it up to compare it to. So Spot Track, again, they assessed Richard Sherman's market value at about $10 million annually. Janoris Jenkins signed a contract around that $8 million, $9 million range. So that seemed pretty comparable for Jason Verrett. I don't know if I do it. Okay, number 3. Our third dealer. I like how I don't have to give my context here. I just leave that up to you guys. Okay, third deal or no deal. Kwan Williams, 3 years, $15 million and $7.5 million guaranteed.
I think he might sign for, like Grant said, with Verrett, might sign for a little more than that. I would think about 3 years, $15 million, but I'd rather spend that money on Kyle Juszczyk. I think if it's one or the other.
I don't want to give a 3-year deal to a 30-year-old coin. What I like about the Verrett deal is that it's 2 years, 3 years for Kwan, who did just miss 8 games last year. I'm cool. And the other thing about Kwan is hell of a player. He's great at what he does, but I can't help but notice that Jamar Taylor did that role extremely well too. And maybe if you take man-to-man coverage out of the equation, you can find other guys who can do what Kwan will. Really, what you're doing is playing zone, tackling, and blitzing. I mean, other guys can do that. DJ Reed could have done that. I don't think you need to spend $15 million on that skill set. So no. What do you think?
Moving on.
No, you said something.
Oh, okay. Well, if I had to choose between Verrett, 2 years, $17 million, 8.5 guaranteed, and Kwan, 3 years, $50 million, 7.5 guaranteed, I'm going Kwan. I like Kwan more. I think that's pretty good value for a playmaking slot corner. Okay, number 4, deal or no deal, Carrie Hyder. And I'm comparing this one to Marcus Golden. So Marcus Golden in 2019 with the Giants had a double-digit sack year and kind of was under the rug a little bit, didn't get too much attention throughout free agency, ended up signing or being brought back for $5 million. I have Carrie Hyder 1 year, $6.5 million, $4 million guaranteed. So a 1 year deal for Carrie Hyder to kind of prove that he can stay healthy because he has injury concerns as well. And that 8.5 sack season was a little bit of an outlier. Do you bring Carrie Hyder back for $6 million?
I would, because the reason why I didn't bring back Trent Williams was so I could be able to afford Carrie Hyder and another player. So if I can get him for under 8, I would consider it seriously. 6.5, definitely. And if you don't get him, then go get your boy Marcus Golden because he knows the James Betcher defense.
Yeah, I think that's a really good price for Carrie Hyder. I mean, he wouldn't be the number one priority in free agency for the 49ers, but if they take care of their top priorities, let Trent Williams walk and still have money left over, yeah. I mean, Carrie Hyder plus Chris Koserick is a proven successful combination. It worked in Detroit. It works here. Carrie Hyder should know that. Chris Koserick should know that. They should find a mutually beneficial price point that they can agree on and bring him back. Absolutely. Why would you let him go? I mean, he basically produced like 80% of what Nick Bosa produced for like, what, $1 million? I like Carrie Hyder. And usually guys who have just one season of pass rush production get some crazy 7-year deal, $100 million. I mean, they may not be able to get him for 1 year, $6 million, but if they can, I mean, that's great, I would say.
Okay, let me give you a reason why they may not offer Hyder that contract. Ronald Blair. The team has been high on Ronald Blair. He's been very productive coming off major injury. Would you rather give Ronald Blair, who's also a free agent, 1 year, $2 million, or Carrie Hyder that $6.5 million figure?
Blair's had so many setbacks. I'm nervous to give him anything, really. Hasn't played in a long time. And it's not like he had a ton of athleticism before the injury. This might be a career threatener. It's been a while.
And
all right, here we go.
With that,
go ahead, Nav.
Oh, I was just going to say Hyder's peak, even though I don't know if he'll reach that peak that he had last year, I don't think Blair has ever touched what Hyder was last year. Although I like Blair as a backup, Hyder has starting potential.
For sure.
Good answer. All right, final one. Mr. Kyle Juszczyk. 3 years, $15 million, $7.5 million guaranteed.
Oh, interesting. The same exact deal that you proposed for K1.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. What do you think, Matt?
I go deal unless you really fall in love with Tommy Tremble in the draft, who I think is a cheaper, close version to Juszczyk, but I'm taking that deal with Juszczyk because he's proven and he's a leader on the team.
Yeah, guys like Mike McGlinchey get all this credit for being great run blockers, but it seems to me that the most important run blockers are Kittle and Juszczyk. I think that's a fair price for him.
Mm-hmm. And Juszczyk's first contract he signed was 4 years, $21 million. So this is a little bit of just a tad bit of a pay decrease because he's getting up there in age. So it seems like a reasonable contract for Kyle
COVID
Juszczyk
contract
to be on the field more. Yeah. I do it. And Maverick, I think you nailed it with opposed to giving Trent Williams that much. I grant you too, opposed to giving Trent Williams that $22 million figure, use it to kind of bring back guys like Juszczyk and a Verrett or K'Wan Williams and Carrie Hyder. I think that's probably the best way to go, unless they can get him for that $8 million range that Spot Track suggests his market value is. I just don't see him taking $18 million.
It's the same logic the Niners used last year to trade DeForest Buckner. It's like, if we keep him, we have to lose all these guys. We want to keep all these guys. It opens up space for us. The problem is DeForest Buckner was a 25-year-old durable leader. Trent Williams is easier to let go of. He's almost 33. He's not a leader, and he does miss games. So, yeah, I'm cool with letting him go to bring back a lot of other players. You just have to have a plan to get a replacement. What, Matt?
I was just going to say, to bring it to baseball, thinking about what the A's did this year, they let Marcus Semien walk to the Blue Jays. He signed a 1 year, $18 million deal. The guys they signed, they got Trevor Rosenthal to be their closer, Sergio Romo, Yusmeiro Petit, and Mitch Moreland, and that added up to $18 million. So they literally swapped contract for contract. I'd rather have Semien on the A's, but still, that's kind of similar to what they would do with Trent Williams in this situation, is use that money for a couple guys.